Okay, this is Paul from Team Clueless 40k. Thought I'd give you a quick rundown of the army that I'm planning on taking to the tournament tomorrow. We're going to be playing at 40k in Colchester. We'll be playing in the Clash of Generals tournament. It's a 1750 points tournament. We'll be playing all three of the missions from the book, so I already know that I'm going to be playing kill points once and two different objective-based missions. And on the basis of that, I've decided to take my Tyranids. So I'll quickly run through the units and why I've chosen them and what they do. So I have one headquarters choice, but it's quite a powerful one. I've got a Hive Tyrant, accompanied by a Tyrant Guard. The Tyrant Guard is unupgraded, he just has his scything talons and his rending claws. The Hive Guard, you can see I've got the Hive Tyrant, you can see I've got the Forge World model here. It's got two sets of twin link devourers, so it can put out quite a lot of strength 6 firepower, so it's able to do a little bit of light anti-vehicle duty. I think it's important to have some shooting which can get people out of vehicles so that you can shoot them out and then charge them. It's very important if you're playing an assault based Tyranid list. He also has the Hive Commander special power. This gives him +1 to all my reserve rolls, which is pretty significant, as one of the problems I've had in the past with Tyranids is that without vehicles they're quite slow moving, so deployment options are very important. So the +1 to the reserve rolls allows me to utilise a lot more deployment options like deep strike and outflanking. And Hive Commander also allows me to outflank a troops unit, which can be very important, particularly in things like Dawn of War. If I'm running on from my table edge, then 6 inches plus a run move can take quite a long time to get across the board. Finally, he also has the old adversary special power, which is an excellent force multiplier. I wouldn't ever leave home without it on a Hive Tyrant. Gives all the Hive Tyrant himself and all nearby Tyranids the preferred enemy ability, which massively increases their capability in combat. Finally, he's got quite a lot of upgrades. He's got the armoured shell ability. This drops his 3+ armour save down to a 2+. I think this is a fantastic ability. Again, I take it quite frequently. 2+ armour save on your Tyrant, especially if he's accompanied by a Tyrant Guard, can make it nigh on impossible to kill through shooting alone. You really do have to assault it if you want to try and take it out, and they're rather formidable when assault themselves. So he'll have his 2+ armour save. Because he's with an infantry model, he's quite likely to also be benefiting from a 4+ cover save, and with a total of 6 strength, toughness 6 wounds between them, it's a heck of a lot of las cannon shots to get through that lot. 3 elite units in this army. I have 2 units of 3 Hive Guard. I think this is the most powerful unit in the Tyranid Codex. It's probably the most reliable access that we have to high strength weaponry. Each guard's got 2 shots at strength 8, and their amazing cover avoiding abilities are really powerful as well. So this is the mainstay of my anti-vehicle capability. And then I have the Doom of Malan'tai in a Spore pod. The Doom of Malan'tai is just a regular zone threat model. Games Workshop still haven't seen fit to bring out as a Doom of Malan'tai model, so we're stuck with this. And the Mycetic Spore is a kid's toy. I think it was called Mega Blocks or something like that. It was originally bright orange, but I've painted it up here in my High Fleet's colours, and I think it looks quite fetching. So this is the first of my deployment options I'm using the Hive Commander for. I'm sure if you are aware, you're probably aware, the Doom of Malan'tai is an excellent anti-infantry unit. He's able to attack every anti-infantry unit nearby every movement phase, every shooting phase. So that's yours and your opponent's shooting phases. So dropping down in a pod, he'll get 2 attacks on every infantry unit nearby before they can react, which is great. He is a bit vulnerable to instant death because he's toughness 4, and despite having potentially up to 10 wounds if he's doing really well, he doesn't have Eternal Warrior, so a lucky crack missile can take him out. But he drops down. His very existence in the list causes people to play differently. They were very loath to dismount from their transports until he's taken care of, and he can pop down and do enough devastation that even if he is taken out in a return volley of missiles, he's been well worth it. Troops. So I'm playing 2 objective missions, so troops are very important for this tournament, out of the 3 games. So I've got 5 troops choices in this army with the potential to make more mid-game. I've got 2 Tervigons here. These are Tervigons that I converted from a Carnifex kit and a Trygon kit. I think they look okay. So I have 2 Tervigons, and they're accompanied by 2 units of 10 Termagants, which makes them scoring. These are, I think, peerless objective scorers, really. We're looking at 6 toughness, 6 wounds apiece, with 3+ armor save, and they come with a unit of 10 Termagants, and they're generating another unit of Termagants around, hopefully, until they run out of Termagants, usually on turn 2 for me. They're relatively lightly upgraded. All I've given them is the Catalyst Psychic Power. I think Catalyst is definitely worth its points. It's really helpful to be able to give regeneration, feel no pain, to whichever squad is currently most awkward for your enemy. In the early turns, that's usually my Hive Guard. Later on, the Tervigons start casting Catalyst on themselves. The Termagants aren't really up to much, to be honest. But at 5 points a model, you wouldn't really expect them to be. They're armed with a bolt pistol each. One of the Tervigons has adrenal glands, and the other Tervigon has toxin sacs. So when they're both nearby, you can get the Termagants up to being reasonable close combat force, but they're still not really capable of taking on anything but non-assault units. I would never be hoping to put my Termagants up against an opponent's dedicated assault unit. My 5th troops choice is a unit of 19 Hormagaunts. I don't see these so often in people's tournament lists, but I think they're fantastic. Sure, you pay a little bit more than the Termagants. These ones have got adrenal glands, so they're 8 points a model. But the close combat potential that you get from them is substantially greater. They have an extra attack each, they have an extra initiative each, they have fleet, they have the scything talons, they have the bounding leap special power, so they're much more likely to get the charge than Termagants are, and they're much more devastating when they do get that charge. They aren't any more survivable than them, of course, and nearly getting on for twice the price. You have to be careful that they don't get wiped out by flamers or rapid firing weapons, but they're a pretty tasty combat force. They can go up against put them up against most things in the game, and they should do okay. High initiative enemies with a good number of attacks are probably their weakest opponent. The opponents that are weakest for them. So that's the troops choices overall. In fast attack, I have a unit of 15 Gargoyles. They've also got adrenal glands. I think adrenal glands is really important to take on your strength 3 little monsters. Putting them up to strength 4 on the charge means that they can glance vehicles, which can be quite important. A flock of Gargoyles or a swarm of Hormagaunts charging a rhino can stun it and surround it so that the troops inside can't get out and the vehicle itself can't move, and then that can be a sitting duck next round for something more beefy to charge it. Or, given sufficient amount of time, 3 or 4 turns, they can sometimes just glance a vehicle all the way to being destroyed. Well, that doesn't happen all that often. The Gargoyles are primarily in this army just to give cover saves to everything else. They're pretty cheap, they're 6 points a model, and when this unit's stretched out across the front line of the army, it pretty much grants a cover save to all the non-monstrous creature models. And because I've got a Tyrant Guard with my Hive Tyrant, it gives him a cover save as well. So that's pretty effective, I think, for a relatively small cost incursion. And sometimes they're still in one piece when they reach the enemy. More often than not, they're destroyed. But with 15 of them, the blinding venom and perhaps the Hive Tyrant being nearby, they can't be completely overlooked in an assault. Finally, I've got one heavy support choice, which is my Trygon Prime. So he's got the Prime upgrade. He doesn't have any other upgrades. He's really another important part of the deployment options. As Trygon, he's able to deep strike from reserve, so he can pop up anywhere on the table. Synapse, as a Synapse creature, he's able to operate effectively on his own. He can deploy, use his containment spines to fire off quite a large number of high-strength shots, and then he's an excellent assault unit against pretty much everything. He likes to steer away from large squads with large numbers of strength 8 weapons, such as Thunderhammer-wielding assault terminators. But other than that, he's pretty happy to tangle with them, with most things. And with his 2 sets of scything talons, he's probably the best unit in the list for taking on enemy vehicles in assault. So deploying behind enemy lines with him is really rather nice. The other deployment option I should have mentioned, of course, is I can outflank one of these troops' choices using the Hive Commander ability on my Hive Tyrant. So a unit of Hormagaunts or perhaps a Tervigon coming on from reserve, outflanking can be quite a nasty thing that my opponent's going to have to take into account when planning his strategy. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes, and we'll be reporting from the tournament for the first time, so we should have quite a nice collection of videos for you. Okay, see you there.